Before she rode horseback across Africa with Spencer Dutton, she was just a theater kid with big dreams and a script in her hand. You might know Julia Schlaepfer from her breakout role in 1923, but what you don't know is the incredible emotional journey it took to get there. The rejections, the cross-country moves, the little wins that built up to a career-defining moment. Today, we're going way beyond the screen, uncovering how a ballet-obsessed teenager transformed into one of Taylor Sheridan's brightest rising stars. From New York hustle to Hollywood headlines, this is Julia's real story, and it's even better than the show. So grab your coffee, settle in, and hit that like button, because once you hear what Julia went through to become Alexandra, you'll never see 1923 the same way again. Her theater kid origins. Before Julia Schlaepfer ever stepped into the boots of Alexandra in 1923, she was performing under a different kind of spotlight, the bright, nerve-wracking lights of school theater. Long before she knew what a Dutton was, Julia was a self-proclaimed theater kid, spending her teenage years buried in scripts and rehearsals. Whether it was playing the quirky sidekick or taking center stage in high school musicals, she treated every role like it was a Broadway debut. And believe it or not, this early immersion in storytelling planted the seeds for the emotionally complex characters she'd one day bring to life. Julia's passion for performing wasn't just a hobby, it was an obsession. She studied ballet rigorously from a young age, and that discipline gave her an edge when it came to timing, poise, and presence on stage. While her friends were heading to football games or sleepovers, Julia was memorizing lines, blocking scenes, and living for opening night. She's even said in interviews that the stage gave her a voice and a sense of belonging she couldn't find anywhere else, a quiet kind of power that would later erupt on screen in her breakout role. But it wasn't always applause and curtain calls. Julia also dealt with the emotional highs and lows that come with performing, the missed cues, the self-doubt, and the fear of not being enough. Yet those early lessons in resilience would become the foundation of her acting career. The grit she developed on that tiny stage eventually helped her survive the cutthroat world of Hollywood auditions and thrive in a role that demanded both elegance and emotional firepower. Her theater kid roots didn't just prepare her for 1923, they made her unforgettable in it. First big city move. After years of perfecting her craft on school stages and in dance studios, Julia Schlaepfer made the leap that every aspiring actor dreams of. She packed her bags and moved to the big city. For Julia, that meant heading straight into the heart of New York City, where ambition buzzes louder than traffic and competition is around every corner. Armed with talent, determination, and a suitcase full of scripts, she stepped into a world far different from the quiet halls of high school theaters, and she was ready to fight for her place in it. But life in the city wasn't glam from the start. Julia was no overnight sensation. She hustled through acting classes, endured rejection, and took gigs that barely paid the bills. She auditioned relentlessly, pouring everything into roles she might not even hear back about. There were moments of doubt, moments where she questioned if she'd ever land that breakthrough. Yet, that same drive that got her through grueling ballet classes and endless rehearsals kept her grounded and hungry. She wasn't just chasing a dream, she was building the foundation for a legacy. What makes Julia's journey stand out isn't just that she made it, it's how she refused to lose her authenticity along the way. Even in a city overflowing with talent, she held on to the raw emotion and passion that made her stand out back in her theater days. That sincerity is exactly what caught the attention of casting directors when 1923 came calling. From coffee shops and casting calls to riding horseback across the African plains on screen, Julia's first big city move wasn't just a location change, it was the beginning of everything. Struggles and rejections. Every rising star has their fair share of closed doors, and Julia Schlaepfer's path to fame was no different. Long before she graced our screens as the elegant and fearless Alexandra in 1923, Julia faced a string of auditions that led to silence, or worse, a polite but crushing no. For every callback she earned, there were countless roles that slipped away. At one point, she even admitted she questioned whether the industry had space for someone like her, someone who wasn't trying to fit a mold but to break it. Living in New York City didn't make things easier. While her peers landed commercial gigs or supporting roles, Julia was grinding through rejection after rejection, juggling part-time jobs to make rent while trying to hold on to her dream. And when you're surrounded by thousands of hopefuls all chasing the same spotlight, doubt can creep in fast. But Julia didn't let it break her. She let it shape her. Every failed audition became fuel. Every no became proof that she was still in the game, still fighting to be seen. What's powerful about Julia's story is that her setbacks weren't signs to stop. They were the very things that sharpened her talent. They taught her how to dig deeper, to bring more vulnerability, more truth to every role. So when 1923 finally came along, Julia didn't just audition, she unleashed everything she had learned from years of struggle. And that's why her performance didn't just land, it resonated. Her journey is a reminder that rejection isn't the end, it's part of becoming unforgettable. Her first on-screen role. Before Julia Schlaepfer was sharing intense, windswept scenes with Spencer Dutton in 1923, she had a much humbler start in front of the camera, one that most fans have probably never seen. Her very first on-screen role came in the Netflix series The Politician, where she played Alice Charles, the perfectly poised girlfriend of Peyton Hobart, portrayed by Ben Platt. While the role was a far cry from a Western frontier, it was her first real taste of the screen, and she made it count. The Politician gave Julia the chance to show off her range in a very different way. Alice was polished, ambitious, and emotionally complex, a character who required both restraint and subtle intensity. And even though the series leaned toward satire and drama in a modern political setting, Julia's performance stood out. She didn't just act, she held her own in a cast filled with heavy hitters like Gwyneth Paltrow and Jessica Lange. It was proof that she could command attention even in a crowded frame. That role may not have made her a household name, but it was the beginning of something bigger. The Politician gave Julia credibility, on-set experience, and most importantly, the confidence to go after deeper, more demanding roles. It was the first stepping stone that would eventually lead her from streaming dramas to Western epics. Looking back, it's clear, Julia wasn't just playing characters, she was building a career, one scene at a time. Breakthrough casting in 1923. Julia Schlaepfer's life changed with a single phone call, the one that told her she had landed the role of Alexandra in Taylor Sheridan's 1923. After years of rejection and uphill battles, she was finally stepping into a project that wasn't just another credit, it was a legacy. And not just any legacy, the Yellowstone universe, a world beloved by millions, rich with drama, danger, and deep character arcs. But even with the excitement, Julia knew what was at stake. This was her moment and she had to rise to it. What made her casting so special was that Alexandra wasn't a one-note character. She was layered, elegant yet rebellious, vulnerable yet fiercely loyal. And Julia brought all of that to life with a performance that stunned both audiences and critics. Behind the scenes, Taylor Sheridan reportedly saw something in her that felt rare, a mix of classical training and raw emotion that made Alexandra feel real, alive, and unforgettable. Her background in theater gave her the tools, but her personal struggles gave her the soul the role demanded. When 1923 premiered, Julia wasn't just part of a hit show, she became one of its emotional anchors. Fans quickly connected with Alexandra's whirlwind romance with Spencer Dutton and her fight for freedom and identity. Julia had officially gone from that girl auditioning non-stop to the woman who stole scenes and hearts in one of TV's most talked-about dramas. Her casting wasn't just a lucky break, it was the result of everything she'd been through and everything she refused to give up on. What's next for Julia Schlaepfer? With her breakout performance in 1923, Julia Schlaepfer didn't just arrive in Hollywood, she made an impact that's impossible to ignore. And now, the question everyone's asking is, what's next? With a fan base growing by the day and casting directors keeping close watch, Julia is in that rare space where anything feels possible. Rumors have already begun swirling about her return for Season 2 of 1923, and while nothing's officially confirmed, fans are holding their breath to see more of Alexandra's story and more of Julia's remarkable screen presence. But it's not just the Dutton universe that's calling. Julia has expressed interest in exploring complex, challenging roles, whether that's in prestige films, limited series, or even the stage where she first found her voice. Industry insiders say she's being considered for several high-profile projects, and if her 1923 performance is any indication, she's more than ready to carry a feature or headline her own series. She's got the poise of a veteran, but the hunger of someone just getting started, and that's a powerful combination. More than anything, Julia Schlaepfer represents the next wave of thoughtful, emotionally grounded actors, stars who bring depth to every scene and never phone it in. Whether she returns to the plains of 1923, dives into a modern thriller, or surprises us with something totally unexpected, one thing is clear: this is just the beginning. And if her past is any clue, Julia won't just follow the spotlight, she'll redefine where it shines next. Julia Schlaepfer didn't stumble into stardom, she earned it with grit, talent, and a fearless leap into the unknown. From small stages to the Yellowstone universe, her rise is more than inspiring. It's a reminder that even the wildest dreams can come true when you never stop chasing them. If you want more behind-the-scenes stories from the 1923 cast or deep dives into Taylor Sheridan's rising stars, hit subscribe right now. We've got plenty more coming your way, and trust me, you won't want to miss what's next. In the comments, let me know. Which part of Julia's journey surprised you the most? And what do you want to see her take on next?